Show.
Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is KJ Ricardo. Today's episode is the first in my series looking at the Dick Van Dyke Show. We're going to be looking at the top 10 episodes from season 1. Episode number 10 is The Sick Boy and the Sitter. Now this is the very first episode of the entire show, so it's important to include in my list. Rob has to go to dinner at Alan Brady's house, his boss. And Laura doesn't really want to go because their son, Richie, she thinks that he's going to be sick. So she doesn't want to go, but they end up going. Rob actually has to literally drag and carry her out of the house. That's funny, but the best thing about this episode is this is the first time that we really see Dick Van Dyke's comedy, his physical comedy really shine. It's a great introduction. He does an impression of a drunk uncle. It's so great. I have a clip of that here.
I'll get you some. Darling!
Sweetheart, was there any mail today?
Oh, yes, some very important letters. I'll get them for you. Listen, honey, are you hungry? Would you like a sandwich?
I would love a sandwich.
All right. How would you like a ham on rye?
Oh, I'd love a ham on rye.
Fine. With mustard? With pickle?
Pickle!
Honey, you don't look right. You know what I think you need? I think you need a nice stiff drink.
Number 9 is Who Owes Who What. Now this is a classic sketch where Rob thinks that Buddy owes him some money and Buddy thinks that Rob owes him some money. And so this turns into a great comedy sketch. But in the episode, Laura doesn't think that Rob can confront Buddy about the money. She thinks that he's too scared or is too shy or doesn't really want to talk about that with Buddy. And so Rob becomes really, he's really fascinated, or he turns this into a comedy sketch for the Alan Brady Show, where they do this like Who Owes Who What. It's an old vaudeville sketch, but the great scene is where everyone is looking at their money and this sketch really comes true. Number 8 is Empress Carlottas' necklace. This is a great episode. Rob bought a knockoff of Empress Carlottas' necklace from work. He brings it home to give it to Laura as a present. But she doesn't like the necklace. It's a ridiculous necklace, but she doesn't tell him that because she doesn't want to hurt his feelings, of course. Rob loves the necklace, so he shows her off and everything, but when his mom comes over, she loves the necklace. So it's kind of funny how much she loves the necklace. And so they decide, Laura decides to give the necklace to her mother-in-law. And so it's a great moment. Number 7 is the Twizzle. I love this episode. Sally discovered this young man who dances and sings to Twizzle. So they go to the bowling alley where he performs and everyone is dancing to Twizzle. It's a great scene. I have a clip of it here. This is a great dance scene, so check it out.
Everybody, now you're doing a Twizzle. Everybody, you'll be getting a sizzle. You twist a little and you twist a lot. Now let's make it
One Angry Man. This is a great episode. Rob has been called to serve on jury duty. So he goes, but the woman who is on trial there, she flirts with Rob and he flirts with her back. And so it's great how he is invested in the trial, but he doesn't really think that she's guilty at all. And it's a great moment when he falls over the railing to help her when she drops something. And the whole time, Laura is in the audience and she's watching. So it's funny with that. But later in the episode, when the jury is deliberating on, like, everyone is saying that she is definitely guilty, and Rob is the only one who says no, she's not guilty. And so it's a definite play on the movie 12 Angry Men. So it's great. Number 5 is My Blonde-Haired Brunette. This is the second episode of the show, and it is a great episode featuring Laura Petrie. Laura thinks that Rob is tired of her looks. He brushes her off one morning. He points out a gray hair, and so she decides to bleach her hair blonde. Her hair should never look this way. At one moment they said she looks like Harpo Marx. It's great. And when she finds out that Rob doesn't really want her to bleach her hair, she is in the process of bleaching it back to her natural hair color when Rob comes home. And she has to explain everything to him. This is the first moment where we get Laura's famous blubbering, her hysteria, where you can barely even understand what she's saying, and it makes it even more funny. And this is a great Mary Tyler Moore moment right here. So check it out.
Honey, why?
Why? Well, yesterday morning, and I kissed you, and you said, don't do that. And you came down and broke your yucky shirt, and the orange juice, and the flash of bits and cities, and the gray hair, and the hormone mark, and the general yuckiness.
Number 4 is Oh How We Met the Night That We Danced. I love this episode. Richie asked Rob to tell the story of how he and Laura met. And so he tells the story, and it's a flashback episode where we go back to Rob's days when he served in the military. Laura is there. She danced in the USO show. And so that's how they met. But she instantly doesn't like him. She kind of hates him. But he immediately is infatuated with her. He loves her. It's kind of love at first sight for him. And so he does everything he can to basically win her. And so they eventually dance together, and, you know, he steps on her toes and everything. But, of course, they end up falling in love. So it's a great episode with that. Number 3 is a two-parter. I Am My Brother's Keeper and The Sleeping Brother. This is a great episode. Rob's brother, who is played by Dick Van Dyke's real-life brother, Jerry Van Dyke, comes to visit. Jerry Van Dyke is just as hilarious as Dick Van Dyke. When he is sleeping, he's a sleepwalker. He is actually energetic, a great musician. He a comedian. He could do everything. But when he is actually awake, that's when he becomes shy. You could tell when he wears glasses. He can't sing. He can't tell a joke. And so that's the first episode. The second part of the brother episode is where his brother Stacy is going to audition for the Alan Brady show. And his audition is hilarious. I have a clip of it here. Jerry Van Dyke is hilarious, so it's a great moment.
It go something like it. It go exactly like it. Well, we're gonna rock, rock, rock. Everybody gonna roll, roll, roll. Everybody gonna go, go, go. Everybody wanna have you gonna give me when you see the way I shimmy. Gonna rock. Roll, roll, gonna rock. Everybody, come on, next number.
So it's a great moment, but it actually turns out that he was awake during that audition. He was able to beat his sleepwalking. Number 2 is Where Did I Come From? This is another flashback episode, but it's great. Dick Van Dyke does a great job with flashback episodes, Richie asks the story on the day that he was born. And so we see the night before where Rob is a nervous wreck. Laura, of course, is very calm, but Rob he has his hat and coat and everything ready to go for the moment when Laura goes into labor. But we have this office scene where nothing is working out. Rob can't get to the house in time, and Buddy has to, give Rob his pants, so his pants are way too big. It's such a great classic moment of, it's such a great moment. Dick Van Dyke is great in this episode, so I love it. But my number one pick is The Curious Thing About Women. I think this is comedy gold right here. Laura is always opening Rob's mail, and he is fed up with it. She's a very curious woman, indeed. And so they get into a little bit of an argument about it, but Rob takes it to work. He takes it to the writing staff, and Buddy and Sally and Rob turn this whole thing into a comedy sketch for the Alan Brady show, where this wife just can't resist opening up a package. Everyone is watching the show. Laura sees it. Millie and Jerry are there and see it. So the next day, Laura actually receives a package in the mail, and Millie and Jerry are there, and their reactions are hilarious. They just think it's so hilarious that the sketch came true. So I have a clip of that.
Package.
Oh, for whom?
Mr. Robert Petrie, where will I put it? Oh, can I help you?
Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
on the table, I guess.
Okay.
No, better put it on the floor.
All right.
Laura, what are you expecting? Well, it's not for me, it's for Rob.
Here, man.
What's so funny about a package being delivered here? Packages do come to houses, you know. There's nothing funny about that. It's Rob's package and it doesn't concern me. I'll find what's in it when he opens it. Would you care for a cup of coffee?
So that is a great moment. But then Laura tries everything to resist opening the package, but it doesn't work. She's a curious woman. And so she does everything. She claws at it. She bites her teeth on the package. And eventually, just like the comedy sketch, it opens and it's a big, giant, inflatable boat. And it's such a great one. Here is a clip of that.
Honey, I'm home.
Lori. Who is it? Honey? Honey, are you in there? Honey, did a package come for me?
It's such a great moment. And so that's it. Those are my top 10 favorite episodes from season 1. I love the Dick Van Dyke Show. It's such great writing, such great comedy, and you can't go wrong with Dick Van Dyke. He's great. His physical comedy is so fantastic. So I'm going to continue working through the other seasons, counting down my favorite episodes. I think I'm going to make Mondays be my Dick Van Dyke day. For those of you who are familiar with my channel, you might know that I make I Love Lucy videos. I do that on Thursdays, so I think I'm going to make Dick Van Dyke be on Mondays. So stay tuned for next week. I'll have another video up for you guys. So I'll see you guys then. Let me know what your favorite moment is in a comment, and I'll be happy to read that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. And remember to always laugh often.